Hi, Dr. Ruth Anderson here for day 20 of the Enlightened Women, Enlightened You Summit. And today's a special day. We're calling it a double-decker from down under day because we are doing 2 Facebook Lives in one day because we want to make sure that our friends from Australia are getting to watch their very own Anayah Joy Holili on the right day. So we have already done one Facebook Live today, and here we're going for round 2. And I'm thrilled to have Anayah here with us in the house. So Anayah, do you want to come on and say hello?
Love to. Hi everyone. I'm terrified, but I'm here.
We're not that scary. We don't actually bite. So, and we've got Terry Angel here with us. Terry, do you want to set the intention for our time together?
I would love to. Hello, everybody, and welcome. So you all know the drill. If you've been here before, place your hand on your heart center and just slow down your breathing. Take a deep breath in, and let's all connect our energy together right now. We're just putting the world aside for a minute while we all gather here at this summit. Our intention today is to honor our vulnerability, allowing ourselves to heal our insecurities and doubts through the power of pure love as expressed by our Divine Mother. May we all feel her cradling us as we journey from believing we are not enough and unworthy of love to a place where we are secure in the knowledge that it is our birthright as spiritual beings to know, feel, and experience love. May we allow Archangel Michael to protect us as we open up to our full power, knowing that we deserve every good and wonderful thing in life. And so it is. Thank you.
So it is, Terry. Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and get the video ready. Hi, I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson, here with Enlightened World Network. Welcome to this episode of Enlightened Women. Grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage, settle in and join us. Enlightened Women is a show about women who are consciously awake and choosing to fully embrace life. These are real women, living real lives while walking in spirit. Many of our presenters are choosing to share their spiritual walk with others on a regular basis through radio, podcasts, or writing. Our guest today, Anayah Joy Holili, is a beautiful soul who leads from the heart. She is the founder of Angel Heart Radio. Anayah and her fellow hosts share their passion to assist, inspire, and support listeners on their path and in their faith. They support and highlight listeners' connection with their divine nature, and they remind you and help you to love the beautiful spirit you already are. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to Anayah Joy Holili. Anayah, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, Ruth, it's such a joy, and you know it is for me. It's such a joy. Thank you for creating this opportunity for us in this way that feels so personal and so connected.
My pleasure. Anayah, in lieu of reading your bio, what has brought you to this place today?
Wow. I have, like many, many people, lived with a lot of pain, anger, guilt, and shame, particularly because, you know, the anger and the guilt and the pain kind of feed into shame. And I never felt acceptable as a person. And I felt that I was fundamentally broken and just wrong somehow. And it was in a way that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I just knew that I was unlovable. And of course, that then begins to generate a lot of acting out, a lot of anger and misery. And through various times in my life, I mean, of course, I've had happiness, great happiness as well. But underlying that, there was this push and shove. You know, there's something wrong with you. No one's really going to love you. And at the time, I thought that was a terrible thing. But, of course, looking back now, I realise it was actually the opportunity for me to find my own wings and fly with them. So, you know, tentatively trying to figure out what that all meant for me, taking leaps and bounds, doing Bradshaw and the Family with John Bradshaw was amazing and explained so much to me, because I felt like if I was wrong, then everyone else was right, but then who was wrong that made me wrong? So it helped me to let go of that. And then, of course, my relationship with the angels was like, oh, the sun coming out. You know the beams that just come out of the clouds sometimes? That's what that was like for me. And that's when everything really started to come together.
So how old were you when you realized that you were connecting with angels?
As a very young girl, I would say probably around 7 years of age, I knew I was connecting with something. And in the beginning, it was through my dog, Rebel. This dog came to us. This is a good story, and I want to share it because it shows how synchronicity plays and how we get support. This dog was a champion in Australia. It was a champion Doberman. And the people who had this dog were travelling and needed a new home. The only hitch was he hated children. So why did my parents take this dog? I don't know. But it was like a divine intervention. We connected, we bonded, and we used to communicate regularly. And I'd walk him every day and we'd have long, heartfelt conversations that somehow were very natural. And that began to open me up. Oh, thank you, Rebel. I haven't thought of that in years. That began to open me up to the unseen world of love and complete acceptance, because he never judged me. I didn't judge him. And so over the years, I guess really it was more in my 20s that I started to piece a few things together. At that stage, it was still quite a fragmented jigsaw, but there were a few pieces coming in. But knowing that there was an unseen world, through my teenage years, I was very frightened of that world. But then coming out of that fear, and I can't even say what changed that in this moment. But I think that's what divine love does. It changes us on a fundamental level that we might not even recognise is happening, but it's happening all the same.
Was there anybody in body that supported you learning about divine love or the angels?
When I was a young girl, there was a woman who lived across the street from us. And while she didn't specifically do that, what she did do was she supported me as a person. And she was such a fabulous woman. She used to make, clothes out of the bedspreads and the curtains and all sorts of things. You'd see the curtains gone one day and she'd be wearing a fabulous pair of cloths, And she began to help me see that it was okay to be expressive about who you really were, because people didn't really understand her so much. But she was kind of on friendly terms with my parents, which was really good for me. So that helped me in that way to see someone who was quite outlandish, but not purposefully. It was just who she was as a person. And that kind of sparked in me that I knew I had some of that in me too. And it showed me that it could be okay to be expressive of oneself. So she was a big one for me. So in a roundabout way, that was the divine love that was shown to me. And it's the thing that we're really interested in, Ruth, isn't it? How we, as living examples, we are inspiring people all the time, and we don't even know that we're doing it just by being authentic and loving to ourselves.
Well, Anayah, as I'm looking at the energy of you growing up with this dog there to love you and this neighbor there to love you, I can really see divine light coming down through both of them to love and support you.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's those moments, I think, for everyone listening, if you have to think about your own world and your own life, it's those small moments that can seem insignificant or even forgettable at the time. They're wonderful at the time, but we don't think about them later. Like I didn't think about Rebel or that woman for years and years. And yet you're right. That's what happens.
And we are all so capable of being a conduit of that divine light ourselves and touching somebody else in just a tiny, tiny way that could make an incredible difference in their lives.
We've got this beautiful thing that the angels gave me, these words that's on our Angel Heart Radio station. We fan your seeds of hope and we help you to plant more. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Anayah, what is it like for you on a daily basis being connected in spirit while you're going about your daily life of caring for family and running a household and trying to run a radio station? What does it look like?
Okay, it's actually really amazing and completely ordinary at the same time. It's a natural part of my world now to be in communion with the divine. So when I have my struggles, and I want to make it really clear, I have had enormous struggles these past year and a half, really huge struggles. But when I have those struggles, the most amazing part of it really is, even when I feel my most alone, in pain, like when my parents crossed, I absolutely know I am never alone, and that even though it feels like it's happening to me, I know it's happening for me. And no matter how great the struggle, I will come to a point where I'll be grateful for what I've learnt through it. And when Mum and Dad left, and I was so shocked because they were both in their 80s, it's natural, I thought I'd be fine. I fell completely to pieces, couldn't leave the house, couldn't get out of my pyjamas, just sobbing all the time. Because it took me a while to realise that what was happening was I was feeling like an abandoned 5-year-old. My little 5-year-old self was alone and didn't know what to do because Mum and Dad weren't there, and 5-year-olds aren't meant to be on their own. When I started to come through that, even though I couldn't feel my connection at the time, I never stopped talking to the angels. Angels, help me. Angels, I feel alone. Angels, please. God. And I yelled at God, what do you think you're doing? It sounds funny now, but I was furious with God. And the best thing about that for me was divine love. And for me, if the word is God, the best thing about that is it's all okay. I'm constantly loved exactly where I am. So I kept talking to the angels, I kept talking to God, and eventually, step by step, the light started to shine again. And I do feel grateful for everything I've learnt now through that process. So it's completely fabulous and completely ordinary all at the same time. But it's absolutely amazing, Ruth. And you know what this is like yourself. Having that go-to place. When something is really challenging me, the first thing I do is pray. And my prayers are not they're not a religious prayer. I'm actually not a religious person myself, although I have a fabulous relationship with God and Jesus, and I'm grateful for everything that they teach me. But it's helped me. It's like coming home. So the other day I was really cranky with someone. I was having, how you have those, I don't know whether you do, but I was having this imaginary conversation with this person about something I was really unhappy with. And so I've got this great prayer. I am willing to release that part of me, which angers me when I think of you. I am willing to release that part of me that wants to judge you and make myself right. So it's this prayer, this praying. It keeps grounding me and bringing me back and making me also accountable to be responsible for my own time here, my own relationship with myself and with divinity. And that was a big, big thing for me to learn. But, it's such a relief learning it. I'm certainly not there, but I'm definitely embracing it.
I know for me, I found when I'm going through what I would call a dark night of the soul, having that connection with spirit, and for me it's God, Jesus, Archangel Michael, Divine Mother, the Holy Spirit, and my higher self, you know, that connection to my higher self. And it puts the difficulties that I have here in the physical realm in such perspective that I'm able to eventually sort of let go of it and get in the flow of these things happen. Parents move on. Yeah, I lost my father about a year and a half ago now. And I understand it more on a spiritual level than had I not had those connections. So I know for me, spirituality has been immensely huge in facing those dark nights of the soul.
Yeah. And just knowing they're okay, knowing that they are okay was such a massive thing for me. Knowing that they are living their lives in a different way to how I knew them living their lives, but they're living their lives. They're prosperous and happy and well. And I know that because they've been to visit me many times. It's the magnificent release. It's the release no one wants to face. But facing it, I recently spoke with Sherry Myers, and she helped me, when I was speaking with her, it helped me to understand that I actually don't feel empty through this experience. I feel fuller than before. I feel blessed in a way that took a long time to get there. I mean, I know it probably sounds like it was a piece of cake right now, everyone, but it was really difficult. It was really hard and very challenging. And I had severe health issues that were generated from those experiences. I'm fine now. But I really, at several points, didn't believe my body could actually keep operating. I thought I was going to die. And it's such an incredible thing, Ruth, isn't it? When we realise that everything I was trying to not feel was harming me. There was only one way forward, and I had to experience it. And I had to finding even the smallest thing in the day to be grateful for, whether it was I'm thirsty, I have clean water, whether it was my couch. My couch was my best friend for 3 months. I laid on it for 3 months. I was so grateful for that. I felt comforted. So it's finding those points. They're the things. They're the ways. They're the avenues. They're the paths that seem so tiny, insignificant even at the time. But looking back, it's the retrospect that shows me how much divine grace there was through those times. Because it's not easy when we have to face our deepest, darkest fears. That's a real challenge for all of us, or for everyone that I've ever encountered. And being loved through it, divinely loved through it. And of course, that came about in earthly ways too. People who supported me. That's a divine love right there.
Interesting that you said that there was a time that you weren't sure that your body could continue.
Yeah.
Did you actually embrace the thought of, I might be transitioning myself? Did you go there?
No, I was terrified. And I started doing things like leaving the house so that my kids wouldn't come home, my daughter wouldn't come home and find me dead on the floor, which sounds so dramatic now. That's how it felt. And I did that several times. I changed other habits that I had in preparation for this thing. I was just, but you know the thing that really scared me? It wasn't the fact that I could die. That didn't scare me at all. What terrified me was that my kids would go through what I was going through, and I kept feeling like I can never die. I cannot put my kids through this, my grandchildren. And that was massive. And again, it fed right back into my stuff. The over-responsibility was one of my big issues that I've been working through in this lifetime, taking on everything to try and make it better for everybody else. And I mean, hey, that's the ultimate thing, isn't it? We live forever so our kids never have to experience that pain and loss. Our grandchildren never have to cry out for their grandmother. So those things were such a pressure that it was my blood pressure. My blood pressure just went crazy the day Dad died. And no matter how much I was medicated, we couldn't get it down. No how many meditations, no matter how many herbal things I was on, nothing would bring it down. And I had to come to the point where I had to, and you know what? I think you might be right there, Ruth. That's a great question. I had to begin to embrace my blood pressure and see it as a friend instead of as an enemy. And I came slowly to the point of absolute respect for what my body was capable of doing in order for me to live as long as I need to do what I need to do here. That was amazing. It was a hard road to get there, though. Very difficult road to get there. The fear was so enormous.
So fear, what was the fear? It was really the fear of leaving your family.
The fear of leaving my family, yes, but the greater fear was that I knew how much pain and suffering I was going through with the loss of my parents, that they would have to experience it, and my grandchildren, my young grandchildren, who I'm extremely close to. That was the fear, that they would have to experience that shattering, raw loss. And I didn't want to be responsible for that. So it's even now as I'm speaking to you and sharing this with you, I can see how my over-responsibility is playing out there and having to learn how to release that. And I can't even tell you what I did. It was so many little things. Oh, I do know what I did, actually. I identified what was happening in the present with somebody else that was compounded by that, and began to release that. That's what it was, you know. Comes down to release. And I'm sitting in the doctor's office. Thank goodness I have an amazing doctor. And she just kept saying, what is it? What's really happening? Look underneath that. Go deeper. Go deeper. And I finally got it. And she'd just taken my blood pressure like 4 minutes before, and she took it again and it's normal. She said, there you go. We can see that this is an emotionally driven charge for you. It's not a physical thing so much, although I'm still being treated physically for the blood pressure. And hey, do you know what? I've actually come to the point where I think to myself, if I need to be treated for the rest of my life, because that was another thing, I'm a spiritual woman. And that was the hard part. Why am I responding this way? But I've decided now that no matter what happens with that, I'm just going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful that I have the opportunity for the medication. I'm going to be grateful that my body is supported and nurtured instead of pointing the finger of blame at myself that I'm not doing it well enough. That here I am, I've got Angel Light 777 sharing all these great things, Angel Heart Radio sharing all this great stuff, and here I am on blood pressure medication, and I felt kind of a fraud for a little while, but I don't feel that way now. I feel so blessed. So if anybody out there, if you're watching and you're having physical challenges and you feel like you shouldn't be experiencing that because you know better, because you're on the path for whatever you're telling yourself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take anything away. Just be grateful for every bit of support you've got. I'm grateful, so grateful, and I feel so blessed.
Anayah, you mentioned that you felt the need to be thought of as perfect in order to be able to put your message out into the world. You mentioned the need also to hide who you really were, so others thought that you had it all together in order to be worthy to be listened to or seen as an expert or a leader in your field. Do you have any advice for other listeners that maybe are thinking, I think I've got something that I could share with other people, but until I have my life all together, I have no business putting myself out there in the world?
I sure do. Just do it. Now. We have now. You know, I think it must have been about 2006 or 2007 when the angels asked me to build angel-like777.com. I actually said to them, have you lost your angelic minds? Because you do know I can only read email, right? That's all I know how to do on the computer. And you want me to build a website. And they just said to me, do you trust us? And when I say they speak to me, they do. But it's not like we're speaking now. I call it the voiceless voice. And I said, yes, I do. Show me what to do. And it was just like this little old-fashioned aeroplane in my mind's eye, flew across the sky and had a big banner and it said Google. So I Googled, what do I need to have or to know to build a website? And they told me I'd need a domain name. What is a domain name? How do I get one? So you don't have to be prepared. You have a fully functioning, incredibly capable divine support team ready to help you if you're willing to take the step. I was willing to take the step. My first website was atrocious, but it didn't matter because, hey, I did it. My website now is sublime. It is so blissful. That's because I've learnt along the way. So just go for it. Take even a tiny step. Ask for support. Ask for divine help. Ask for clear guidance on what steps to take and when. The fact that you have the feeling, the desire, the fact that you have a message to share, that means you're ready. And no one else can do what you've come to do in the ways that you've come to do it. So even when you feel you're ill-prepared, even when you feel you're going to be a failure, I've been on Angel Heart Radio for almost 9 years now. Our egos will be in our ear all the time, aren't they, Bruce? Right? It's only this past year that before every show, my mind's not saying, oh, you're going to totally mess this one up. You know that, don't you? And so, and you'd never know. I was amazed. You'd never know listening to me on radio a couple of years ago that's what I was feeling. My heart had been pounding. I'm going to just mess it up. I'm going to mess it up. But I went ahead and did it anyway. And there was a show after Mum and Dad passed that I did, the Angel Life Hour. I was with Lisa Ellis then. I was so terrified. I'd lost all my confidence. And you get the countdown and then you're live on air and I burst into tears. And all I could say is, Lisa, help me. And she did. She stepped in and then I called the angels and they stepped in and then for the rest of the show you wouldn't know. It's not the fear that stops us. It's the fear of the fear is what I found. Reach out to your team. Call your angels. Connect with whoever it is that you know comes from light. I always call beings from light. Even today, all these years later, I call, all the angels that come from God, all the beings that come from God, all the divine support that comes through God. Thank you for being with me, supporting me, encouraging me. Show me what to do. Archangel Michael, thank you. Please give me courage. Before every show, I pray before every show. And what that praying does is it grounds me back in my faith. it draws in the vibrational frequency of love and nurture. Do that. Find your own way. You're amazing already. Your journey now, like mine, is to remember that, to remember your magnificence and to remember that you matter in the world. You're here for a very important reason and you are already equipped. Your passion is part of your equipment. You're equipped to do what you need to do in the world that brings you fulfillment and helps you along your path to share your loving nature and your light. And you know, Ruth, every bit of light we share adds to the pool that is growing and encompassing the whole planet and reaching out beyond. And we're a part of that. We're an important part. And every little thing we do that spreads love and kindness, every time we love ourselves and nurture ourselves in that beautiful way, we add to that. It's the overflow. The angels once said to me, trying to give from an empty cup leaves everyone thirsty. Allow your cup to fill till it's overflowing. That overflow is what will nurture others. Great advice.
That's beautiful. Anayah, I have a question. You feel and hear and have the knowingness that you're hearing and feeling your guides. Has there ever been a time that you thought either they got the information wrong or I've misinterpreted this, something's not right here?
Yeah, many times. Many times. Like when they asked me to create Angel Heart Radio, because I was doodling Angel Heart, and someone said to me, you know, you need a radio show, don't you? Oh, Angel Heart Radio, hello. So I only had two fears. One was that no one would listen. The other one was that somebody would. So when I completely messed up my very first show, like completely messed it up, I really thought that either you've got this wrong because obviously I'm not qualified for this, or I've misinterpreted what you wanted me to do. And there have been many other instances. What I came to understand through that was if the information that comes through, we are the filter and we will see it through our own filter. So sometimes we may change what our interpretation of the message is, right? It's not that it was wrong, it's that our understanding may have grown. Our filter may be a bit clearer. And so when I completely messed up the Angel Heart Radio thing, and I felt so embarrassed, I mean, I did this publicly, and they just said, it's okay, you didn't get it wrong, we didn't get it wrong, it's just an experience. If you remain authentic, if you remain true, this will help other people. And I had people write to me and say, you know what? I realise now if you can do it, I can do it. And that's what happens. We can do it. We do it together. And when you mess up, it's not really a mess up. It's a mistake, the angels say. It's just a mistake, child. Have another take. Have another take and another take. It doesn't matter. The takes are endless. It's the not stopping, Ruth, isn't it? It's the proceeding.
Well, and I so appreciate that you modeled for other people to take the courage, put yourself out there, and if you have to, you fake it until you make it. Put yourself out there. You took that huge step that frankly keeps so many other people in their corner. But you didn't. You took that step and you modeled for us that it's okay to take the risk, maybe look a little foolish or look unprepared or whatever, but dang, then you built on your skills and took it from there. And look what you've created. And not only did you create that platform where you can put your words and your voice out there, you've got hosts putting their words and their voices out there. So your reach has exponentially grown over the years. And it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Ruth. And it is a beautiful thing. And it's really fabulous and magnificent because it doesn't matter where we start from. It only matters that we start. And it doesn't matter how many times the jigsaw puzzles fall apart. They're pieces. They'll go back together if we choose to do that. It's all good. At the end of the day, it's all learning, it's all growth. And you know what? When you get embarrassed about it, like, oh my gosh, I've been so embarrassed so many times. Give your little inner child a hug because they're the ones that need it. I get my little one, come and sit on my knee. I want to tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about a little girl who was really embarrassed but kept going anyway. And guess what? That was me. And I grew up. And I'm here to take care of you now because I know how. And that is amazing. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I will remember that.
It's such a gentle, nurturing thing to do. It's such a loving act. Yeah.
I know for me, on my spiritual journey and the work that Archangel Michael is asking me to do, I am pushed out of my comfort zone day after day after day in various ways. And I know that you are too. And the learning just keeps going on. So what are you learning currently from your walk with Spirit?
Oh, wow. The biggest thing I think I'm learning at the moment is to let go of what really doesn't matter. And by what doesn't matter, I mean, it might matter to me, but is it nurturing me? Has the time come to surrender? And being a people pleaser and a rescuer and someone who's had over responsibility as like very strong earthly issues, that is a huge thing. So it's the surrender. And it isn't falling to my knees, sobbing anymore, which once upon a time, that's what it felt like. Now it's falling to my knees and opening my heart and saying, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. You love me, you guide me, you teach me. I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to God, Jesus, Mother Mary, the angels. I'm just going to do it. And even when, like the other day, I accidentally erased my mum's voicemail on my answering machine. Oh, you have no idea. I felt absolutely floored. And I yelled at God, that is not funny, you put that back. And I could hear Mum's voice saying, you don't need it anymore. I don't care, Mum, I want it. I don't care. I want it. I want to hear your voice anytime I want to. And I had to surrender that. And so I went through, I am willing to release that part of me that feels like I need Mum's message to be connected to her. All day long, I went through this act of surrender. And the next day, sure, I'd really like to have it, but it's not important anymore. That is huge. Instead of it being that underlying pain, that underlying loss. And my dad's voice was there as well. It's remembering that letting go doesn't mean I'm losing anything. It means I am gaining everything. I'm really grateful for that. It's a beautiful thing to be okay, to be okay, just being me. And knowing that I'm loved and that I'm willing to love me no matter what.
And that you are absolutely lovable.
Yes. Yes, I am absolutely lovable. Exactly the way I am. So it doesn't matter. Don't wait till you've lost weight. Don't wait till you've got the right clothes. Don't wait till you've got the knowledge. Don't wait till you've got the experience, because none of those things are real. What's real is your spirit. What's real is my spirit. That's what's real. It's the love that we are. It's loving, patiently loving myself has been the biggest and most grandest, scariest, fabulous gift I've ever given myself. And now I'm not constantly searching for somebody else to do that for me. I know I'm divinely loved. And when I first started my mirror work, you know, you go to the mirror and look at yourself and tell yourself you love you. I couldn't do that. I could not do that. But what I did do was I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself and I said, I want to love you. So you don't have to start complete it. You start somewhere. And now I can easily look at myself in the mirror and say, I really love you, Anayah. I love, love, love you. That is incredible. Start somewhere. Doesn't matter where.
So, Anayah, one of the things that I adore about you is your authenticity. And it's this authenticity that we're getting to witness and share today that you bring to Angel Heart Radio. And what a gift that is. And I know that that's been a process for you of getting to that place. But I know that that place of authenticity is where you and your other co-hosts, including Deb Goldberg, have come to. So when someone opens up and listens to a show on Angel Heart Radio right now, they're getting true authenticity of where you all are on your spiritual journeys. So I encourage any of our listeners to check out Angel Heart Radio. And Anayah, if folks want to follow you, learn more about you, or learn more about Angel Heart Radio, how do they do that?
Thank you. AngelLight777.com is the go-to for all the info. When we're on, who we are, how to connect, angelheartradio.com takes you straight to our station, so you can listen anytime, 24/7. We're on iTunes, of course, and lots of other platforms. We're on Facebook. I'm there. You'll find me for Angel Heart Radio, and for Angel Light Love 777. That's a big one, but it's the Angel Light Love 777. That's the Angel Heart Radio Facebook page. It's not about you liking us, and of course we love that. We love it when you like us. But it's about the opportunities we have to connect with you. And we want to know what matters to you. Is there something we can do on the show? Is there a show you'd love to hear about? Is there a topic that would support you? Are you struggling with something? We have amazing, amazing people. Deb Goldberg, as you mentioned, Annette McCoy, Marsha Martin, Darren Snell, Trudy Griswold, Karen Palmer, our Mindful Media Mom, and our brand new host who's working with me on the Vision of Angels on Angel Heart Radio, Carol Ann Cross. She is wonderful. I love working with Carol, and her connection with the angels and elementals is absolutely superb. So we're very blessed on Angel Heart Radio in so many ways. Please forgive me if I've forgotten anybody. We have these amazing people who are completely heart-centered, authentic, and are here sharing on Angel Heart Radio, not as a platform for themselves, because we see Angel Heart Radio as a service. Not what can we get by being on Angel Heart Radio, what can we give? Having these beautiful souls sharing the way they do, I am so blessed that what I began with the angels has blossomed. It's like the beautiful rose, you know, you peel away a petal or a petal comes apart, there's another one and another one and another one, and the fragrance is amazing. And that's what Angel Heart Radio is. It's that the angel said to me once, as the rosebud, so too your tender heart. That's the Angel Heart Radio right there. And we do it because we love people. We do it because we really love people.
Anayah, thank you so very much for being with us here today. It's been beautiful. Thank you.
It's been wonderful, hasn't it?
I love you much. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you much. Bye. Bye, everyone. Milo. Milo. And he's a beagle.
Yes.
Milo.
Beagles have a great bark about them.
Yes. It's okay. They're supposed to be there. All right? They're for next door. They're not for here. Let that go. Let them do their work. Good boys. Right, Sam's laying down. Sam's good.
Very good.
Good boy, Milo's drinking now. Good boy. That's a good boy, Milo. Hop into bed. You're a good boy, mate. You're a good boy. Lay down. And you're a good boy too, my Sammy.
Do you have any dog chews that they might like to enjoy a little?
Oh, they'll be gone in 2 seconds.
That won't hold.
And then they'll just start barking again.
So well.
Oh, I was on the Australian telly say, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Okay, I have to stop laughing myself here.
Oh gosh, that was so good. I'm so glad you put all that in there. That was awesome. Moo. Anyone in Australia will know Kath and Kim.
Yeah.
So that's a character.
The rest of us are just fully entertained.
Oh gosh. Oh, that was so cool. That was such a great interview, Ruth. You're amazing. I just love you so much.
Oh, I love you. But here's what I want you. I just want you to step back for a minute. And I want you to realize that the woman you just watched was filmed 2 months ago.
Yeah, right.
And she was teaching you today.
Today, I know.
Yeah.
That was what I'm sitting here going,
I saw.
I'll have what she's having.
Yes. Yes. And what Archangel Michael wants me to tell you is that you hiding behind Blog Talk Radio or whatever, where we can't see your face, we are missing so much of the story. You are a natural storyteller, and you convey, I've got total goosebumps, Anayah. You convey so much emotion and so much authenticity. It's a shame that all of your shows aren't video. And what I was actually writing down was Angel Heart TV.
Yeah. It's thank you for a start. It's been a really rough couple of months. Writing my chapter for the anthology, when I started to write that chapter, the chapter I wrote wasn't the chapter I meant to write. And it created in me a whirlpool. But instead of being sucked down, what happened was all the stuff that was still in me, still in there, that needed to be revealed got thrown up. And it all got thrown up at once. And it was terrifying. I was actually talking to Carol on the phone one day, and I just had this major revelation because my blood pressure is really high again. And I had this major revelation. It was like, why? What's going on? And this is really emotional for me to talk about. I realized part of me felt like it was my fault. Mum and Dad had their strokes.
Wow, that's a lot to carry.
And it was
Wow.
And I deserve to have one myself. And I never knew that was inside of me. So I was terrified about coming on here because, you know, I knew I'm pretty raw at the moment. But you're right. It's about being authentic. And I want to be. I want to be open and vulnerable with everyone in the way that's healthy for me. And this is very healthy because, you know, people are used to me. I know you guys are used to me, you know, sharing my stuff and doing the thing, but it's really been a hard time. This last, you know, 2 years in November have been really difficult for me. And yet at the same time, it's been, you know, I just got that picture in my mind. You know, you see back in the day where people were ploughing the fields, you know, and they had ox-driven ploughs or horse-driven ploughs, and they worked, they toiled from you know, before light even until after dark, and they worked and worked and worked. And that's what the last couple of years have felt like for me. But at the same time, I will say it's been wonderful because as I'm churning up the soil, as I'm ploughing that soil, as I'm delving into what's really happening for me, there have been nuggets that have come up as well. And I'm planting seeds all the time. And I had a major revelation watching that. And that revelation was part of this journey has been needing to say goodbye to a terribly, terribly important relationship. And one of the things that was said to me was, everyone's going to find out you're a fake. In anger. I didn't realise how much I took that on board.
So you are thinking that because you have a relationship that is broken, you are a fake, because someone who is walking with spirit has to be loving all the time and sort of in this state of kumbaya, that nothing hurts me. I can always put myself on a back burner so everybody else around me is happy, whether it's working for me or not.
Well,
Right?
I guess that's part of it, Ruth. But the other part is that, you know, when things are said, and it's really awesome actually, because it helps me to realise how important my words are. Be very careful, Anayah. What do you say to people? How do you say it? It makes me realise, even though I know that's not true, it still got into me, and it still really hurt me. And I guess the blessing in that is I get to choose what path I go down, like we all do. It's a daily thing. It's a minute by minute thing sometimes.
Right.
So the path I'm choosing to go down is I'm really healing this, and I've chosen to obviously heal some of it publicly. And I'm doing this because I want to be authentic, and, well, that's not even it really. It's the integrity that is so important to me, that I live in integrity. And there's no use spouting on about how important it is to be okay with what happens and love yourself anyway, if I'm not prepared to do that. So for anyone who's watching this, if you're going through anything, I know it can be so devastatingly painful, and stuff gets in, it really does. But you know, when you're cooking lentils or something, you've got to wash them and pick out the ones that don't belong there. That's what I'm doing. I'm washing lentils at the moment. And there's a lot of lentils in my sieve. And the other side of that is maintaining an integrity in my heart space, because I get really angry with this person from time to time, and I don't want to live like that. So maintaining that integrity that says, yes, this has been happening, but you as my teacher, I want to respect you and send you love no matter what. And the provocation has been enormous, continuously. So obviously what I'm being presented with here as a divine opportunity is to, I feel like I'm healing a lot in this last part of my life, which is really great because I don't want to be coming back and doing this all over again. But it takes a lot of courage. It really takes a lot of courage. And yes, please, God, I really want to do this. And I want to do it with integrity. And I want to do it and stay heart-centered. And if that means crying on camera when I'd really rather not, to be perfectly honest, I'd rather look like the other girl that was just on, then that's what it takes. Because she's a part of me and I'm a part of her. Isn't that the thing? We're just in this amazing flow of divine energy, having this experience here, these experiences, which is some are so joyful and some are so painful. That's why we're here. We volunteered to be here. And I want to thank you, Ruth, and you, Terry, and all your team. Wow, the opportunity you've given so many of us to be here and experience this is really glorious. And I just want you to know that you've been instrumental in a lot of my personal growth just recently, because you've given me so many opportunities. And the women that I've been watching in this series, it's like boom, boom, light bulbs just keep going off over and over. So if anyone's watching and you haven't RSVP'd, do it anyway. Do it right now. Go do it. enlightenedworld.online. It's so wonderful.
And do you know what's glorious, Anayah? That you have realized in your life that you don't need to keep the rocks in with the lentils.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the hard one.
Hallelujah. Well, I tell you what, it's a good place to be. Not always an easy place getting there. It's a wonderful place being.
Right.
I'm very grateful.
And something else, when I was just looking at the energy of what you've been talking about the last 2 months, that you've really been going through a lot. And I see you in labor.
Yes.
Yes, but here's the thing, and I've got goosebumps. You are birthing you.
Yeah. Yes.
I can just see it.
I thank you, Ruth. I completely hear what you're saying, and I do believe that's exactly what's happening, because I know an opportunity is coming my way. I've got no idea what it is, but it's going to be completely out of my comfort zone. I know it's coming. I've been told it's coming. I can feel it coming, and I'm going to take it. So best do all this now and be done with it. And thank you, God. Thank God I know about those underlying feelings that my inner child was having about deserving to have a stroke. Imagine that. Oh, darling heart. Imagine that. I'll be having some good one-on-one time with my inner child, I can tell you, and I have been. As well as look at your beautiful face, Terry. See, you guys can't see her, but I can. She's so beautiful. And it's the gathering of souls, it's the gathering of hearts, it's the gathering of love. When we come together like this and we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. I loved your intention in the beginning, Terry. It's so beautiful. This willingness to be vulnerable in a healthy way is such an empowering journey. It is an enlightening journey. It is an entrustment that we place really in ourselves, isn't it? It's what our soul is placing in ourselves, knowing that, hey, you know what, you may not quite embrace it in this particular life experience, and that's okay if you don't. Because everything has many beautiful ripple effects that we can't see from our current position. But every little one that we do embrace brings us closer and closer to really remembering only love is real. Only love is real. That's the only thing that is real. And all the rest is experience, not to strip from us, but to strip away the mantle of what doesn't serve us, what isn't even real.
Right. Picking the rocks out of the lentils.
Picking the rocks out of the lentils. I know, and I really love lentils, so yeah.
Before we go to Terry Angel, there's a couple things I want to say. Number one, the light on your face has shifted. And Terry, I don't know if you can see that, but it was
Yes.
fascinating to see how the light has shifted on you. It's like you're in your own sunbeam here.
Wow.
You had said at one point, you said, to the angels, have you lost your angelic mind? Which makes me laugh because I have said similar things, but mine is more like, are you kidding me? That's how I say it. And they said to you via a banner on an airplane, Google. And I remember the time that I heard loud as day, clear as day, look it up on the internet. It was like, what?
Yep.
Okay. The angels are talking about the internet. So it's just fascinating. So I would love to, well, there's one, I have so many notes from things that you said, but one thing you said was somebody watching your first radio shows might say to themselves, if you can do it, I can do it too. And I remember the time that I thought that same thing. I was being interviewed by someone and she had missed the day we were, I mean, it's like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And then she's in her living room in her pajamas interviewing me. She has no idea what I represent. I mean, it was just like the absolute weirdest interview I ever had. And that's when I thought to myself, if she can do it, I can do it. So hallelujah for the days that everything goes wrong, because it's somebody else that pat on the back to say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. And can I share a quick little story with you?
Yeah.
Back in the day when I was doing an interview every week, and I was booked for about 8 months in advance, there is a man called David Paul Doyle for The Voice for Love. And he interviewed me to see if he'd come on Angel Heart Radio, right? And I thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. Here's a person who's really particular about where they share their time, their energy. I can learn something from this. Anyway, oh gosh, it was just incredible. I didn't realise that it was going to be an on-camera interview, and I got out of bed. I hadn't even done my hair. It was like I was in my pajamas, right? The whole thing. I was an absolute train wreck, and his camera's on, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can say my camera's broken. I can pretend, right? So anyway, I thought to myself, Anayah, you can just be authentic with this. You've been given an opportunity, just, ship up or shape out, or the other way around. So I pressed my camera on. I never said a word about my appearance. He never said a word about He's sitting in a studio with lights and umbrellas and never said a word. We did the interview. We came on Angel Heart Radio. We had the best time on air. He is such a beautiful soul. And about 2 years later, I was looking on Google for something, and what do I find? A quote from him saying his time with me on Angel Heart Radio was one of his most favourite interviews.
Aww.
So it really was that full circle moment of the integrity of being present and centered in my heart, in your heart, like you're saying with that woman in her pajamas. When we are in our heart, everything else ceases to matter. It doesn't matter. Blubbering on air doesn't matter. Actually, I'm going to cancel clearly that I wasn't blubbering. I was expressing a lot of emotion. I was being genuine. And that does matter.
That does exactly.
It does matter, doesn't it?
It does matter. Good job. Good job.
Mm.
So Terry, let's hear. Do we have anybody with us over in our Facebook group?
Oh my gosh, we have such a loving audience. And Anayah, I just love you. I love you. And you are one of the most genuine people I know. I just want to say that. We have with us Deb Goldberg, who is showing you so much love. Um, Sue Broom is on, also giving you kudos and love. Carol Ann Cross. And she said she loved the additional takes. I wondered how they were going to be shared. I think we all loved that. That just really was needed there at the end of that very intense and raw interview. That just, it touched all of us, Anayah. And I just want to read some of the love that people gave you. Carol Ann says, "You are a beautiful soul, and I'm blessed to know you."
That's so beautiful, Carol.
Yeah. And Belinda Brown is on, and she's giving you hugs. Deb Goldberg says, "Anayah is so courageous and shows what the loving internal work looks like."
Wow.
So true. Belinda says, "You are amazing." Ivana Morano is on. She says, "You are a brave woman, showing us that anything is possible." And totally agree with that. Deb Goldberg says, "You are magnificent, Anayah, and have helped me with my fear of being seen and inspired me and helped me mature into a more caring individual. She is such a beautiful light that uplifts you and really cares about holding others up and helping them share their light. I am blessed to have her in my life as a friend and role model."
Wow.
Beautiful words from Deb. Yeah.
Wow.
Belinda says, "You are a light." And I'm just scrolling here because there is so much love being shown to you.
That's so beautiful.
Stephanie Stafford is on. She says, "Dear Anayah, even though both your parents are on the other side, I know they left you with all the good attributes they had. Otherwise, you would not be able to help other people like you are currently doing. What a blessing they left you."
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
And I really hope that you will go on, I know you will, go on and read all of this love that was shown to you tonight, and everybody that came out to just support you and show you that they care. We all care. We all love you so much.
The blessing. Now I'm going to cry because of the blessing. It's so beautiful. Thank you all so much. You are so treasured in my heart. Stephanie, I know we've not connected before, but that doesn't mean we're not connected, because we are. Oh, hush. Just stop that. And to be the reflection of you all, because we all know that we're reflecting each other all the time. We're reflecting everything. Doesn't take away anything from the bounty of beauty and joy and tenderness I feel for everything you've shared with me. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed. It's, it's a big life in so many ways for so many of us. And this is the thing, I think, one of the things I really learned through this, guys, is it used to be like, well, someone's going through A and then someone's going through ABC. So they're going through more than that person. And what I really learned, especially since working with the angels, is there is never a comparison. And sometimes we can feel like we don't deserve because someone else is going through what we think of as worse. And I think it's a really beautiful thing to remember that our own experiences are really sacred. They are absolutely sacred, and to honour ourselves going through them is such a powerful place to be, and actually helps us move through them faster. I sometimes ring Carol up. Hello, Carol. I sometimes ring Carol up and go, and sometimes I ring Carol up and spout wisdom. It depends on where I'm at. And sometimes the things that I'm sharing, I know aren't coming from me. You girls know what this is like. You open your mouth and you go, whoa, wow. But it's all exactly the same at the end of the day. It's all really important and valuable. So whatever anyone may be experiencing, please honour yourself. You're brave, you're wonderful, you're courageous. Showing up is a big thing some days. And to love ourselves regardless, we can give that out into the world like a kiss of kindness. And it floats on the airwaves. The vibration of that never dies. And it has no boundaries. It travels far and wide, beyond anything we can imagine, beyond any galaxy or universe we can imagine. So make sure you're blowing kisses of kindness for yourself out into the world as well as into your own being, because it's very important. And you're very important and you're very needed and very, very valuable, just like I am, just like Terry, just like Ruth. We're all really important. We're needed just the way we are. It's okay to be the way we are.
And I would say that Reverend Holil just gave us our invocation.
I like that. Oh, thank you, Ruth. And I know I made a joke of it, and sometimes I do that because I don't know what to do in the moment with the sacredness of something. I take this opportunity of my life with such gratitude and such humbleness sometimes. You know, that humbleness, that true humbleness you feel, the extent of it can be very enormous. So to have been so blessed to have had my parents with me until they were in their 80s for a start, but to have been so blessed by you guys, everyone, all the love you've shown me today, all the experiences that I've chosen to make my way through. It shows me how amazing we are, all of us, every single one of us.
Right. And Anayah, I want you to stand up and own your ministry.
Mm.
Because total goosebumps, because that conversation you just had, blessing all of us, that's ministry.
Okay. I'm feeling that, Ruth.
Yeah. Yeah, Terry's too.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm feeling that in a way that's really new for me. So here's the thing, everyone. This is what I really love about all the stuff that we're doing, all the women that have been on this incredible summit. Ruth, Terry, wow. Archangel Michael, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Michael came in this morning and said, because I was panicking, you wouldn't believe how much I was panicking, because I felt, one of the things I felt, everyone, I didn't mention this earlier, when I saw Deb Goldberg's interview, Deb was so extraordinary, I was desperate to call Ruth and ask her to pull mine. Every interview I've ever done, I'm embarrassed by. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I think I wish that woman would just stop talking. So that's the journey, isn't it? From that into the graceful acceptance of the tenderness of who we really are. So just know, like me, I was really scared about coming on here. You ask Caroline Cross, she'll tell you. Ask Deb Goldberg, she'll tell you. Ask Ruth, she'll tell you. But to do it anyway, and to be okay with the fact that you're scared, it doesn't mean anything. It just means you're feeling the fear of a major transition.
Right.
Doesn't it?
Yep. And here's what I want you to know. During the video, I closed my eyes, which I do on all the videos just to sense what's going on around me. And I saw Archangel Michael with me and Terry and you in spirit. And he put like a medal around my neck, like Wizard of Oz, right? They put the they put the medal on the neck. And then he went to Terry and put a medal around her neck. And then he went to you and put a medal around your neck. And it was beautiful, and I'm so appreciative of it. And I want you to see that you were ratcheted up a notch in leadership, in responsibility, in how you represent the spiritual divinity. And that happened tonight. So I want you to go through your day, let that kind of soak in for you. And if you want to talk about it later, I'm happy to have that conversation with you. But I think we'll go ahead and we'll close for tonight with that. Stay on the line because we'll stay on. But to all of our friends that we love so dearly on Facebook, have a beautiful day, have a beautiful night, and we love you all.
Bye. Love you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here.